Two. Brothers, we are back, and guess what? Crown Jewel is supposed to happen this Saturday, but wait a minute. Is the show going to go on? We'll find out after this break, and plus we got a very special guest with us. Brandon, the guy is in the building with us as we break down a preview show for Crown Jewel and some of the other suspicious things that's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. Brief pause. Psych!
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes! What you gonna do? 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 What you gonna do?
Oh yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Wrestling Wrealm proudly brings to you its 12-time tag team champion of the world. And this is going to end right there. Brothers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast. Well, guess what? Tonight we celebrate 50 big episodes of the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast since we started and we expanded the brand. Gentlemen, how you guys feeling this evening?
Feeling good.
Feeling like $1,000,000, baby.
I mean,
feeling good.
You looking like $1,000,000, brother Hugh.
Thank you, sir.
Sure is.
I try.
But of
I'm
course,
trying to be like you when I grow up.
I mean, listen, aren't we all though? But listen, we got family in the building today, brother Brandon. Brandon, the guy is joining us today, the AKA the Belt King himself, as we break down this year's Crown Jewel and if the show will go on, and quite a few things we need to dive into. But brother Brandon, thank you, sir, for joining us tonight. I mean, it's not like you wasn't going to, but you know,
Thank you for the invitation.
You're officially like a reoccurring member, so it's like, I don't want to treat you the same way TNA treated Kevin Nash around 2009 and 10. So I want to make sure. And I knew you would get that because you watched it around that time. Like you remember that. That's how we got Diesel back because TNA just got comfortable. But
We're gonna look to the left on that one.
Yep.
it's all good though. Listen. Welcome to the shenanigans. And but gentlemen, we have a lot to get into tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We have to we've got to address quite a few things. There's a little bit of controversy. There's a few things a little perplexed by. Right? Not to be confused with the word suplex, even though it's very close to a wrestling term because it's a wrestling show. It's not exactly what I'm getting into, but Crown Jewel.
Mm-hmm.
There seems to be rumors that the show may be in jeopardy due to some serious and unfortunate potential threats from another country. We're not going to go into details about things of that nature, but we may or may not have a show. We don't know, and I don't know if there's contingency plans put in place. But tonight we're definitely going to talk about it, and we're still going to preview that show as well as go over a lot of the other things that are happening right now in the world of professional wrestling. We've got new tag champs. We're celebrating 50 shows. We've got Brandon, the guy here. He has a new wrestling belt that's on the way that he won't give us any more hints. He gave us like a piece of a screenshot of, was it the finished belt, brother Brandon? Or was it just a render? What was that?
That was actually one of the side plates. I gave you the render, and then I gave you a piece of it. But that picture I sent you was not completely finished. It still had some painting and some stuff to add to it.
And I knew he was going to do that, but that's okay though.
Just stop sending pictures, man. Just stop.
No, it's that's what I figured was going to happen. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We're going to get into it tonight. But first, we're going to get into logistics. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the part of the show, if you're not familiar with what we do, where we go with all the subtleties and all the logistics of the show. So, hold on, let me be professional. Let me grab my handy dandy iPad like Steve from Blue's Clues. Ready? Here we go. I'm going for it. Wait for it. Episode 50. Welcome to the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, you can watch our flagship show, The Wrestling Wrealm, and other shows anytime on youtube.com/The Wrestling Wrealm. where you can catch shows such as Wrestling for the Culture and Break It Down with Brian H. Well, myself, the real Dwayne Allen, has the third brother Hugh, Brian H. Waters, explore many topics in the world of professional wrestling and try to educate and give fans a different perspective on a lot of different things. I am your host, the real Dwayne Allen. He is your host, Brian H. Waters. He is your host, brother Hugh, has the third H to the A to the S, T to the H to the E, 3 to the R to the 3. And also your host tonight is Brandon, the guy. He's known as the guy, the original belt king. You know, not the bloodline. The bloodline has an honorary Uce. We have the original belt king. So thank you, brother Brandon. Thank you for indulging in hosting duties for us tonight. But you can follow us on all social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at the Wrestling Wrealm. Like, subscribe, and engage in a conversation with us as well. You can also stream and download all of our audio content on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. So you can watch us and subscribe to our Twitch channel at the Wrestling Wrealm. To support the Wrestling Wrealm, you can shop WrestlingWrealm.com, where you can receive anything Wrestling Wrealm related in regards to merchandise, cups, mugs, t-shirts. We recently just unveiled fall winter 22 season of the Wrestling Wrealm. This is our new merchandise that we've been rolling out. As you can see, there's quite a few coupon codes going around. So if you want to support us and be a part of the brand, this is the best way for you to do it. And we just like to show this at the end of the day. As you can see, our stuff is like there's no place for it, but it is what it is. We're very busy. We've conducted a lot of content. We're creeping up on 500. If you wonder why we haven't made that big of a deal about our 50th episode on this particular podcast, is because we're very, very close to overall our 500th show of all of our combined content as a brand. But if you want more in that conversation, you can also subscribe to our Patreon channel at patreon.com/wrestling_realm, where you could enjoy shows as Break It Down with Brian H. No, I'm sorry, Bree Waters Thoughts.
Brian H. Waters Thoughts.
Brian H. Waters Thoughts, where Brian is
known as Mr. Main Events Thoughts, but
he's had so many iterations of this show, but it's just like the natural evolution of what we do. But Brian H. Waters Thoughts, it's definitely a must hear. It's all of the ins and outs that Brian H. doesn't always get a chance to express on the show. And,
actually just wrote too.
No, he's back writing again. I need to write too, but writing's not my forte.
Yeah, I wrote something about Sami Zayn and why he is must-see television.
See, that's an interesting.
First of all, respect his name is Sammy Uso. Thank you.
Not yet. Jay's still there.
Well, some people are referring to him as Sammy Uso.
He's Sammy Uso.
We're gonna talk about Sami Zayn being a little Uzi today. It's gonna be fun. One of these days in the near future, you may get this. Who knows? Listen, like I said,
someday
anybody knows me, you know this. When it finally comes, trust me, it's going to be worth it. But ladies and gentlemen, there will be a new show exclusively on Patreon called Realness Reacts. I'm trying to figure out the format of the show so I can be consistent and and do it the right way so we can enjoy ourselves. I'm very opinionated and I always have a lot to say. And I plan to be very unhinged, very uncensored about a lot of things. And I'm long-winded, so I can take as long as I want. But hey, shout out to Man Caves TVs. Thank you. That's thank you for commenting on Brandon the Guy's collection. See, look, he's looking down, he's not even paying attention. Look at that. Somebody's making comments to me. You're a host of the show. Somebody's making comments about you. Read that. Yeah?
I see that. Look at that.
You're over, brother.
I appreciate that.
But with all that being said, gentlemen, how's everybody doing today? It seems like it'll be a lively day. We have quite a few things to get into tonight, but how's everybody feeling?
Oozy.
Feeling kind of oozy?
Big oozy.
You feeling oozy?
What about you, Brandon?
I'm actually feeling good. A little tired, but guess what? I got my second win, so I'm ready to, as Dwayne says, burn the midnight oil.
Burn the midnight oil. Listen, bro. We're always tired. We're always catching our second, third, fourth, and fifth win. But listen, this is what a great way to end the day, right? Hanging with the good brothers and talking wrestling. Now, people, if you don't really notice, this is something that happens on a regular basis, like in a flat out group text. Like this is the brotherhood. Like literally, this conversation happens all day. It's just that now that on this particular day we get to record a show about it. But
yep. Facts.
Brian H, you've been kind of itchy this week, buddy. You all right?
Huh?
I said you've been kind of itchy this week. You okay?
What you mean? I'm good. He
didn't even catch it. See, that's okay. He's used to throwing. He's used to throwing the oops, and I'm used to throwing down the dunks. I tried to throw him one for once, and he didn't catch it. That's okay. We'll get into it. But hold on.
Be all right.
Don't worry about it. Let's just start right here, brother Brian. What did you get into this week? What did we watch this week, gentlemen?
So, hey, we got to run this one this time because we don't run it too often, and I like sound bites and wow, stuff. We got more stuff in here. So anyway, this week I watch. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Some ECW.
What? How about Brian H watching ECW? Like you talking ECW or we talking? Oh, we talking about WWE ECW. What are we talking about?
And I ain't talking about the one that that I have the belt, the first belt
that you treat like Brian. That's his first replica title.
That was the Brian H belt.
Bro, he treats it like garbage. And at first, he wasn't even going to get that.
Watch, here it comes. Here it comes.
I had to convince him to get that joint. So look,
I thought you was gonna bring it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is gonna happen. This is gonna be this way all night. We got the Belt King in the building. This is what Belt Kings do. Not me. I'm talking about the guy, Brandon guy.
Oh, do I need to hold on? I'll get the Brian H belt. Hold on, so everybody know what the Brian H belt
there
is.
There it is.
Here we go.
There it is.
By Matt Hardy.
That's
the Brian H belt. So whenever you hear somebody talk about it, Brian wore this belt, not this belt, but this was the Brian H belt. Mine is signed, of course, by Matt Hardy.
Mine's signed by Matt too. You know that. You was there.
But yours don't have delete. Yours don't have delete on it.
He was beating death.
He was stronger than death.
Bro.
All right, let's see how long I can hold this while you talk about your ECW. Oh, wait a minute. I got to go back to the original one, but it's okay.
So you know how many times I went to Brian H Studios and I seen that belt on the floor. I said, "Dude, what are you doing to the very first one?" Oh, well, it's just there's no place because it doesn't fold up. He's disrespecting the quality of it. Oh, it didn't fold up. So I know it's a commemorative belt, but it was on sale. It was on sale at Wrestling Superstore.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was going to get it first. And I don't know if he made the decision or I said, like, dude, you got to get it's on sale like
$69, bro.
Yeah, it was just dumb. And he had money to blow it at the time. Like, dude, I can get it like right now. And I convinced him to get it. He even let me hold it for a week. See, this is the stories you guys don't know about. I said, bro, I didn't have any titles in my house at the time. And this is when the commemoratives were like just coming out, right? And I was like, dude, let me just hold it for a week. I literally carried it around like this.
Like the real one.
It does though.
Different.
It really is though. Like I like the commemorative titles. The problem with the commemorative titles is for the price that they cost, you might as well go get one custom made. So
yeah, exactly.
Because down there, $200 if they're not on sale.
Right. I'm like, dude, if I might as well hit one of the guys and make something happen.
And get yourself one of them.
But I'm sorry, Brian H. You said you watched some ECW this week.
Yeah, so I want to give a shout out to Mikey, TJ, Josh, and Steve of the Casual Wrestling Pod. They invited me on, so make sure y'all check that out. That drops tomorrow. But I was encouraged to check out.
Where does it drop at?
On YouTube.
YouTube.com/ What's the name of it? What's the name of the show again?
The Casual Wrestling Pod.
Okay, the Casual Wrestling Pod, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
got it.
So yeah, they new pod just starting out. So give them a follow. Shout out to them. But yeah, so they encouraged me. We did a show on returns in wrestling. So that's all I'm gonna say. Y'all gotta watch it. But they encouraged me to watch some ECW. So I turned on the night, two returns, Raven and Sandman. And when they made their return, those pops was ridiculous.
We talking late 98, 99-ish?
It was looking 99, 2000-ish. Raven from when he teamed with he came out to help Tommy Dreamer.
There you go. Yeah, he came back to ECW from WCW. ECW's on his last legs.
Yeah, see,
that was a huge moment in ECW's company history, though. I remember that.
Yep. Yeah, and that was like when I look at stuff like that, I wish I had known where to access it at, because it's like those moments. That was the Hammerstein Ballroom.
They were filming all their TV late, like around that time.
Yeah, and then the Sandman one. I'm glad I found a fan-made video because the TV video don't do it justice because they like the one I saw second, it like cut out the Into the Sandman music, but the other one, it had like the Into the Sandman music, and that's actually like a song I like a lot. I like to work out to it. And the Ravens will sometimes make their entrance to that. We all know Mariano Rivera, the greatest reliever in baseball history used to come out to that song. But he
did, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, one time when I would do the Ravens games, you know, seeing like Lamar Jackson and them being introduced to that song. So to see Sandman come out there, you know, it just kind of like, even though that happened first, it just like put me back in that mode. And you hear the fans singing the song with him as he came out there. I don't even know who he was beating up, but just those moments, I was like, oh yeah, this is good stuff. And right now I got on WrestleMania 27. Don't ask why. I just randomly put it on. I was watching Brock and Roman yesterday from this year's WrestleMania. And I had a different perspective when I looked at that.
Interesting. Hold that thought. I want to go there.
Well.
Hey, but BH, remember when Sandman came out? What was it? MCW?
Yeah, MCW.
It came
Brandon can correct me, but if I'm not mistaken, 2007, like around September, October 2007.
It was cold outside, and that's when he couldn't get on the ring apron. Right?
Yep.
You talking about that time, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna leave it at that. He couldn't get on the ring apron.
Yeah.
And I remember looking over, like, whoa.
Well, first of all, he came out, and he came out like right behind us.
Right.
We're sitting in like the last row. He came out, and he stood right on the chairs, like right beside us.
Yeah, and, me, Hugh, and Our God Be Rich. Shout out to Our God Be Rich, Brandon Richardson.
Right. And you know, we're just soaking in the moment, and then like last second, it was like, oh snap, he about to spit the beer out.
Right.
Hey, I ain't never moved so fast in my life.
Take cover.
Hey, the people around us, man, and you can guess the rest. They didn't move. They was excited about it, but we was like,
they wanted that beer bath.
We knocked down everybody, babies, chairs.
Oh, no.
He didn't care. He kicked chairs over the place. His kendo stick was like this. He was
I was
like,
this man turned and looked at us and laughed his butt off, bro. And I was just like, man.
Brandon, you've had multiple brushes with the Sandman. Do you not remember WXWC?
Oh, I definitely remember that. Remember him and Road Dogg? We was
Yoko's on the tribute show. They had to wrap Sandman up. They're like, Sandman, come on. First of all, he came to the crowd. It was like maybe 50 on that one side. And like he was like he was literally coming to the crowd, stepping on hotel chairs. Like he was like stepping on hotel chairs to get over.
But what interest was that? It was on one of the maybe y'all can remember that pay-per-view that he couldn't get to the ring because he kept going around the crowd.
And he kept getting lost.
It wasn't one night stand.
Was it one night stand? He just kept getting. I was like, it was the longest entrance ever because
he's using them bingo halls.
It was like, which one? And he just kept getting stuck. He going around. Was it one night stand? I think it was the very first one, wasn't it?
But I know that one show Dwayne talking about, man, that was the craziest thing. If you remember when they was in the ring. And the guys were so green to the point Road Dogg just yelled out, "Come on, guys, you're killing me!
You're killing me, guys!" It's like, oh, poor Road Dogg. And this is your Road Dogg was like a day over 1 year sobriety.
Yeah,
like we just talked to him earlier.
We just interviewed him.
We just talked to him literally maybe probably an hour or two earlier. And I asked him about how he feels. You know, like that was his turning point. He got back sober. He was telling you how good he felt, and then he gets in the ring with a couple of green boys, and he couldn't wait for that match to be over with. But he looked good in the ring though. Yeah, and they had that manager that I thought was Big Swole at the time, but Brian reminds me like, dude, that wasn't her. And I'm like, oops, my bad. So,
oh man, funny Road Dogg story, real quick.
Here we go. Deal double. I want to hear this
because I got to make sure my name is cleared out of this.
Here we go.
Be Brian Walters.
Right. So on his podcast, he said that that my colleague and the rest of us was smelling a little like the Mary Jane
at the Brooklyn show.
At the Brooklyn show.
Okay, that's what Troy's like. Smells funny in here,
right? And he said, somebody's like, "Did you say that smelled like gas?" He's like, "No, it said smell like Kaz." It was like so. Of course, Kaz says no. He said, "Man, I'm with Dave and I'm with our other producer." And Kaz said it right, Brian Waters. And I'm like, "Yeah." So let this be known that there was no gas being smelled, or that gas, or whatever, in the front row at the Barclays Center. But I'm sitting there listening to this last. They're like, "Wait a minute, did he Road Dogg really just say this on his show?"
And listen, have you noticed that Road Dogg show is so much more unhinged now with his new host that he's on it with? He's like it's so much more Road Dogg to me. It's less organized. It's just like fly by the seat of his pants, and they're just having fun, which I think is hilarious though. But Road Dogg always has a place in my. Of course, he's one half of my favorite tag team of all time. But brother Hugh, what did you get into this week, sir? What did you watch?
Well, first of all, happy birthday, Daddy Ass.
I don't know what to say sometimes when that comes up. Like I swear, you brothers, like I'm trying to like move things forward, and then he does something, and I'm just like, bro, what are you? Like, what am I supposed to? It's supposed to be no dead air, and then I'm just stuck. Like, bro, what am I supposed to say?
This getting clipped off of social.
Bro, it's again. I told you, like this king. If shenanigans are not present, brother, he's like, oh, so shenanigans aren't here, right? Don't worry, no problem. He goes in his bag of shenanigans and just like, there it is. Just in case you thought it wasn't gonna be any shenanigans. And I'm just looking like, what do I even say? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Just happy birthday to the one Billy Gunn.
Right. Thank you. The one and only.
Hey. No, I was thinking about the show we did last week. DX versus NWO.
Yes, sir.
And I think I'm right. DX was the better faction. I went back and was just watching like a bunch of documentaries and just different videos and old matches of the NWO, and the NWO just stayed around too long until the point where it was just washed out. Now, if it didn't stay around too that long, then I would still be on the fence with it.
Okay.
Like you had the different factions, you know, the elite, and then you had the black and silver, and like it was done. It was way past its time. DX was able to stay relevant throughout the whole period that they existed, even to now.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
So, yeah, that's basically what I was doing.
Okay. No, man, listen, that's what a good journalist does. I don't take pride in being a good journalist, but I know Brian H does, and brother here, I gotta give you your flowers while you can still smell them. That's good journalism, that you would go back and say, you know what, this is what we discussed. Let me go back and watch this film and analyze it, man. So that's kudos to you, brother. Like that's some real professional stuff that you do. So a lot of people not want to. No, a lot of people not want to do that. That's to the extent and a passion that you have for what the heck we do. But that's actually a pretty good observation. I'm glad you said that. That we've heard it a lot from the people that lived it, but it's different from us because we were wrestling fans,
right?
So it's like I care more about the opinions of my brothers because like we were in different places looking and watching the same thing, and we didn't know how bad it was at the time because we were kids, which also makes me realize like maybe it's a lot of stuff that we are concerned about in our older age, things we complain about. Maybe the kids didn't care too much about that then, but
man, it crushed so many careers too, bro.
Yeah, long term. When you look at it, you're absolutely right though. It's one of those things, man. It's like and the crazy part is when you look at the NWO at 96 when it debuts, and then you look at it like late 98, as much as you're enjoying it, it's very different. And if you're not paying attention, you don't pay attention to the fact that it's different because at the time you were like, I'm enjoying the Wolfpack. It was this, very hip hop-ish type feel vibe to it. You know what I mean? So of course, kids in the hood, we was like it was almost like representation. We saw, we may not saw, we had Booker T's and we didn't see, our faces there, but it was still our culture. You know what I mean? It was hip hop culture. We was growing up in, mid to late 90s. So, but I trust me, I can understand it. But brother Brandon, the guy, what did you get into, sir? The Belt King himself.
So I'm a YouTube fanatic.
Absolutely.
So, I just typed in NXT to see what would come up, and you'll be surprised who came up first. And I don't know if this is like a precursor or what, but Bailey matches came up, and I'm a Bailey fan. So
okay.
I started going back and looking, and I'm like,
don't choke, brother.
Wait a minute. Yeah, you're right.
I'm watching them and looking at them now, and I'm like, Bailey was really good, and she was really left out of the 4 horsewomen, and she kept the ball going when they left, even to the point. And it's no discredit to Nia Jax, good match with her. But I think the turning point for Bailey when she realized that she couldn't do it anymore was that match with Asuka. Watching that match now, and as great as Asuka is, Bailey was like, I'm good too. And even though she lost in defeat, it was like, well, I need more of that. When you watch Bailey, and it's like she's still evolving and still changing because, like I think Brian H. said it when now she's doing the Bailey to belly again. And it's like, why you going back to this move that you didn't buried when you buried the Bailey buddies? What story are you trying to tell? What is this dust that she's sprinkling? Because we didn't realize it. Bailey was involved in front of our eyes when she won Money in the Bank. Like at that point, and I went back and was like, wait a minute, while she was slowly but surely creeping up, and it was like when she won, it was like, oh, that's a pleasant surprise. This is something new. But we didn't realize at that point that she was becoming the Bayley that she is now. Yeah. And it was like slowly but surely her moveset changed a little bit, everything. Her ring gear changed a little bit. The bright colors started to disappear a little bit. But it was like you looking at Bayley back in those days, even with people could say her and Sasha had the greatest match. But I would say her and Asuka probably had a better match because Asuka was still the unknown.
Sure. No, I mean, I don't deny that one, but everything you said was absolutely spot on. I have always gone on record to say that Bayley is probably one of my all-time favorites in the ring. Like I think she's one of the baddest wrestlers on the planet. And I was never a huge fan of women's wrestling prior to that. Like, I had select few of young ladies that I was personally a fan of, but just overall as a whole, it didn't always tickle my fancy. But she was one of the ones that made me go. Her, like the four horsewomen, all four of them, they the way they worked in the ring, it seemed like they were hard hitting and straightforward. It didn't seem like women's wrestling seemed different from men's wrestling, and it shouldn't to me mentally. Like when I want to watch pro wrestling, I don't want to decipher between that's why they don't have stuff like little people wrestling anymore, because that's almost demeaning. Like I don't want to see different versions of wrestling. I just want to see wrestling, and I want to see the same caliber of talent in the ring, whether it's women's matches, whether it's men's matches. That's how I looked at it. And I feel like the four horsewomen, especially Bayley, were the ones that kind of got me to that point. And with that being said, it also allowed me to it opened my eyes, and I ended up giving women's wrestling, a bit more of a fair chance to kind of explore it and not be afraid to go there. And so, trust me, you can't go wrong with watching Bayley's matches. But speaking of Bayley's match, we have quite a few matches to go over for Crown Jewel. But gentlemen, 50 episodes of shenanigans. Can you guys believe it? 50 episodes so far since we made the decision to say, okay, sure, we have this flagship show and we try to educate people and talk on certain subjects that are rather timeless, but we have nothing that's kind of timely. And the idea probably came from years ago when Brownie was working for the Mouse in Florida, but further up north in Connecticut, we were trying to figure out a way to kind of do this type of show, and it kind of just evolved into what it is today, though. But gentlemen, just give your 2 cents on, and we'll start with you, brother Brandon, because you were there in the beginning. 2 cents on just 50 episodes of us constant shenanigans.
And see, 50 just sounds like a low number because every day I feel like it's a different episode. And
yeah, because it's in the group text that's literally in the group text every day. It's a different show.
That is true.
But it's not even that. I'll call you to say something like, just mark my word, the day I hate you. And then it's like 45 minutes later, I'm like, what just happened? You get off the phone, have a good day. Or, hey, B, what's going on? 2 hours later, I'm like, man, what the? So, but that's where you can tell it's a difference in wanting, doing, and having a passion for it. And you can tell the wrestling realm has brought out the passion in you guys, that it's to the point that no matter how many times it has evolved, it continues to grow. Like, even to the point that it's like, who would have thought that even a year or 2 years, let's just say 5 years ago, we would be spending Wednesdays nights doing this?
Yeah.
Who would even thunk that, we were still, I remember one time, me and Brian, what did we do? We set up our belts behind my couch and we shot something. You know what I mean? We was just so
that was for the documentary,
adamant and just like,
go to Independent Report.
Yep. It was like, how do we make this work? How do we make this work? And now with the evolving of technology and things like that, just knowing it's only been 50 doesn't feel like it's 50. It feels like it should be close to 5,000.
500.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
No, more than 500, because that even seems low to me, because
it does.
It's moments, it's memories, it's, if you just took about every time that you talked about wrestling, said, what if we just had a reality show and you show that we'll be on like season 12 already?
No, it's funny you mentioned that, because how many times, brother Brandon and brother Hugh and Brian, is by all means jump in. How many times after those freaking independent shows we sat around those parking lots not wanting to go home because they weren't going to talk about shooting the breeze,
especially I mean, especially because like in the indie lot, you don't, it's not so many people there, right? The WWE shows, you kind of got that rush. You downtown, you trying to get away. But those independent shows, you feel a little safer. I mean, remember the time we were standing outside and Prince Nana walked past, making me nervous. You're like, we're from the Wrestling Wrealm. Oh yeah, I heard you guys. You good, or just like just standing, like you said, being outside, just having those wrestling conversations, being in the locker room, having the wrestling conversations, being inside the building. Even shout out to like Dr. D, because he was there for a lot of that stuff, where doing before the show start, we all just standing around just talking wrestling. And it's crazy to think like, wow, you look at the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast, it's like for me, it's one of those things like we finally letting y'all back in on the conversation. We put it on pause a little bit, because like if you look at the very first season, and season 1 and season 2, there is some timely stuff in there. Like we did some shows right after Kenny King surprised the world and just left ROH and went to TNA, and everybody's like, "Whoa, that like he disrespected the company."
Champion.
Exactly.
He was like, "What the? We just watched the tag belt."
Yeah, so it's like getting back to that timely material has been fun. And just the consistency and just growing this wrestling community that we started growing in 2011.
Brother Hugh,
I'm just happy to be a part of it, man.
Just too cool, just too cool, bro.
Just seeing the amount of growth throughout the years. It goes from seeing 2 gumps in the basement. You know what I'm saying?
I swear, bro. Yo, sunglasses Hugh's got to be the flyest guy. Like, just I don't want you to do no shows without glasses on, because this is a whole different level of character. I'm sorry, go ahead, brother. I feel like if this is the bloodline, I feel like every time they got to deal with Sami Zayn, they have a good
pretty
time.
Much.
But go ahead.
I feel like he is the Sami Zayn, but agree.
I keep trying to like stay focused and let you do your thing, but you say stuff, and I'm just like, bro, go ahead. I'm sorry, yo.
No, just seeing y'all, the amount of growth, and I mean, especially
basement.
It's special because most of those years, I wasn't seen. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I was behind the scenes here and there, wasn't there like 100%, but finally, after begging and staying on me, like I finally jumped into it, and it feels good to actually come out and be able to and just be able to chill and have fun with my brothers.
Mm-hmm. I mean, behind the scenes, you got one of my favorite photos. When me and the Realness was recording our WrestleMania 37 post show, and you was able to snap the photo of me on the air.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you've been working behind the scenes, brother. Yeah. I mean, WrestleMania 28.
Since we freaking fired our first marketing guy in the library that day.
What was the word you used?
He's a corporate fat cat.
Fat cat.
I heard he does real estate. More power to you, brother. I'm sure you're making lots of money.
Oh snap! Oh my gosh!
I said it. I don't care.
What's one of your favorite moments, or one of your favorite experiences that you went through?
As far as this show is concerned, or just
as far
as
the show in general. Like for me, for instance, when I think of Wrestling Wrealm, one of the first things that jump out is that NWO promo, and how much fun we had just shooting that.
Nah, the crazy part is it's like we every time we do something, the original concept never comes out, but the mistakes, like the accident that is the result of it, is like 1,000 times better than the original concept.
Right.
And to me, it's like that's when when you're doing something right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's when you keep what you do, your art, in its most purest form. I'm a quality over quantity kind of guy, right? And I always say stuff like, and I always say, sorry, okay. I'm trying not to break. And I always say, you got to get through the show. And I always say that, that I know we're good at what we do, and I don't need the views, the people, the likes, or anything to validate it. Mm-hmm. It's because it shows up. Because when the right people see our stuff, they're like, "Oh yeah, that's genius. That's perfect." Monday, the WWE stole one of our concepts. I said it already. We're gonna get into that too.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, somebody's watching what we're doing, and they're doing the same thing. And it's like, because I'm confident and I know that we're good, I don't need all that other stuff. And that's to me, like, we could be fighting for sponsorship. We could be trying. We could, but I after 12 years, I still don't care. You know what I mean? is because I am just I'm hell bent on making sure that the quality of what we do is said. That NWO shoot would not have been possible if you were not there to do a lot of those things, a lot of those jump cuts, a lot of those things. Like we literally just the first half of the day, we spent about 2 hours setting up everything, and then we spent like another hour and a half shooting the B-roll stuff. But the B-roll happened to be like the highlight of the video because it was very NWO-esque. Right. The way that Brian H is based on at the time, you know, as I call it, Brian H Studios. There's like 5 different versions of Brian H Studios. It is wherever he is, that's where Brian H Studios is.
Make it work.
And you know, and that's exactly our attitude. And it's just those moments are like classic. And then the ultimate icing on the cake was for Eric Bischoff to see it and say outstanding work, gents. Like it was in all caps and it was on Twitter, so I know he said it.
And he said it in person.
And the same thing, Brian H reminded him like, "Hey, you get you," and he said the same thing to Brian H in person. I'm like, and I kept saying to myself, I wasn't looking for validation from a guy that was part of WCW. That was the president that was running the company, and he produced those segments. I specifically watched the NWO DVDs, man, and he said these are segments that I produced. Yeah, and for him to watch, because we watched the Bullet Club do one early in the year. And we watch people do other stuff. I said they're not going to go.
Cody comes out on the screen.
Look at that, and we were watching it. We were like, they're not going to go to the extent that we're willing to go to do it. And that's the attitude of who we are.
Or Michelle Beadle.
Yeah, well,
she did it with Hogan.
She did hers with Hogan on was it ESPN?
Yeah, Nation.
Sports Nation. Yeah, you know, theirs was good. Hogan was, you know, Hogan, but you know, even still, like at the end of the day, I was like, this is why I do these things. And to this day, that's still one of my best projects that I've ever worked on. It's probably, if not my favorite project, it's up there with my favorite project. I don't know anything that I've done probably that's been more fun than that, man. But
man, that one, it was like, you ever be tired the next day, but you're still happy? Like,
yeah, every Wednesday.
I didn't feel robbed like of sleep because it was so much fun. So that next day when I went to work, I'm sitting there like, I can't wait for this to come out. I can't wait for this to come out. And then
we got done like 1:30 in the morning.
No.
Was it 2? It was 2,
2:30.
Right? I thought it was 2. I thought I was exaggerating though.
And y'all had because after we transferred all the footage, we had 3 cameras. Yep. And I know we'll go deeper into stuff on the 500th episode, which I just looked at. We had 498
and an iPhone.
Right.
Yep.
And it was like, wow, we really did this. And then when you started, like, you was like, wait till you see it. And so for me, I'm like, I can't wait, because it's one thing to shoot something, but to see the final product, I was blown away to the point, like, shout out to my boy Leo. When we dropped it, he comes to me from his area of the office, like, and I'm sitting there working on something serious for work. He's like, yo, y'all funny. Left comes back, you know, shout out to Wiley from Fox Sports 1340. He's told me on numerous occasions, yo, I really mess with that. Like, I've watched that a couple of times. Like, I really messed with that. So yeah, that was definitely a fun one.
Yeah, no, I mean that's stuff like that is what keeps this pure at the end of the day. And I don't care who listens, I don't care who watches. I promise you, I don't know how we got ranked 2 years in a row, top 10 most whatever they call wrestling. Like how we ranked top 15? First year was top 10, next year top 15. No, top 15 and then top 16 wrestling podcasts out there. Like how? It's because when you look at the numbers, they don't match up with that. But the right people are listening to what we're doing. The right people are looking at what we're doing and saying, no, these guys, there's substance to what these guys are doing. And I think when this breaks the way that it needs to break, it's going to break in the right direction. You know what I mean? And it goes in order to what we're doing today, because look at Brother Brandon. I don't know how many times this guy's been in a wrestling coma. We've had to pull him out. This guy has had so many disgruntled wrestling conversations. And like even before Triple H had kind of taken charge, she was fresh out of a coma.
Yo, like, Brandon used to call me when he was in college. You see, I know Brandon for 22 years. He called me when he was at college, and I would get excited because, like, back then, you know, everybody didn't have cell phones. So the only way I would talk to Brother Brandon is when he would call me, because I didn't have his like dorm number. So it was like, and mind you, this is like 2002, 2003. So wrestling's in a different space. It's not as popular. So you don't have so many people to talk wrestling with. Before, 98, 99, everybody was talking wrestling. But Brandon would call me in college and we had those same conversations.
I mean, that's like I say, if you can get Brandon out of a wrestling coma, you're doing something good. So we don't take it for granted to have you here. So that it was a reason we wanted you on for episode 50, brother Brandon. So we definitely appreciate you, brother. And this is what we do. We've been doing this for a long time, and a lot of people have fallen by the wayside, and a lot of people don't have this. So I'm grateful that we can still be a collective as brothers, and and one of the hottest factions out there, be able to come on here and have a good time. So cheers, gentlemen, to 50 episodes. I don't know if you made anything to drink.
This cup is big as hell.
He was like, I'm trying to raise his toes. He picks up a cup and goes, "Man, this cup is huge." And I'm just like,
"Oh my
God." I forgot to fill up my coffee.
That's okay, gentlemen. Titles up.
Titles up.
Titles up. Where she go?
Hold on. He's got his. Hold on.
We gotta do it again.
There we go. Gentlemen, you ready?
Yep.
Gentlemen, cheers to 50 episodes of the Wrestling Wrealm NOW podcast, and here's to the next 5,000. So, cheers. Appreciate you, brothers.
Yes, sir.
Cue us sound effects. So, let's get into it, gentlemen. We spent 45 minutes doing what we want to do because we can do what we want to do. There it is. Perfect sound effects, gentlemen. The build up to Crown Jewel. Crown Jewel is coming up. Supposed to be Saturday, November 5th on a pay-per-view or premium live event. We have a stat card, but before we get a stat card, gentlemen, let's discuss from the very beginning the build up to Crown Jewel. We know that the Crown Jewel is supposed to be a showcase event in Saudi Arabia, right? Mm-hmm. We understand that they love wrestling over there. It's a huge market, and these shows are meant to be like the WrestleManias for these different areas, right? And Crown Jewel is no exception to that. But the build up to it, brother Brandon, let's start with you since you joined us today. How are you satisfied with the build up to Crown Jewel? I know a lot of things are interwoven now that Triple H is in charge, but are you okay with the way things have built up to this, or do you feel like they're kind of just overdoing it with some of these matches? But do you feel like you're comfortable enough going into Crown Jewel, not really, even if you don't watch the weekly programming? Are you happy with the build up so far?
I'm not excited about it.
Okay, do tell.
And I just don't feel like it doesn't feel like it's a pay-per-view coming up.
Okay.
I feel like it's like, oh, it's something on Saturday. Like after SmackDown, I'll be like, what time does it start? Because nothing really has been no cliffhangers from Monday Night Raw. Last week, it wasn't nothing to make me say, oh, I can't wait till they get in the ring. Like, you had Omos and Braun Strowman basically just look at each other for the last how many weeks, and then there was one little thing, and then it was like Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar could be massive, but it's like, okay, why are they fighting? Just because? Like, if you don't know the backstory, you're just like, okay.
So are you not a fan of showcase events? This is like a Mayhem in Manchester, where usually in the 90s these wouldn't be televised, but with the way things are now, are you not a fan of these things, or what's your 2 cents?
I don't know if you remember what year, and Brian, correct me, what year was that in Rebellion? And it was one of the better pay-per-views because the DVD came out. Because the DVD came out, we were able to see it, and I was like, wow. I remember watching it and saying, this was actually awesome.
Right.
And it wasn't like really no showcase matches. It was just like, wow, why couldn't they show this? But when it comes to Crown Jewel, it's like, I could those matches I could see on Raw, SmackDown. I'm gonna just say that. That's why I don't feel like I'm excited about it, because Drew and Curry, all the matches I know you'll go through the card, it feels like we've been there, done that. What's going to be different this time? Like, I don't even feel like the Bayley and Bianca match is going to be special, because I feel like that could have had more of a build up. But it's like, when you have so many moving parts, it's like, all right, but what about them two?
Okay.
Where is their build up? Where's something that you're excited to see, or something that you're like, because you can have a build up for any pay-per-view. Premium live event, and want to see it. But this, I'm just like, it's going to happen. Maybe this will be one of those hidden gems where it's like, it blows you away when you see it. But I'm not excited about it. There's been nothing major to get me excited about it.
Okay. Brian Nace, do you agree with his sentiment, or do you feel differently about the build the Crown Jewel?
I feel a little different. To me, this is the show that's revolved around, Roman Reigns and Logan Paul. and you got some other, showcase matches on there. I do like Brock and Lashley. I think that's another rematch of a dream match that we've wanted for so many years, and I think it's built up perfectly. These are two guys you're not gonna see you're not gonna see Lesnar every week, but every time they're on the same show, it's mayhem. So I like that for this rival.
Okay.
Some of the other matches may seem a little fillerish, but even like Bayley and Bianca, that story can always continue the way it's been happening, because like Bayley is like hell bent on like getting respect and taking that belt, and then Bianca is hell bent on reminding you that she is the EST. So I'm fine with the build up. It's Crown Jewel, it's not, at the end of the day, it's not none of the big four, so I'm good with it.
Okay, Brother Hugh. Now, Brother Hugh. Now you have a different take on things. Are you satisfied with the build up, or do you feel the same way as Brother Brandon and Brian H?
I mean, I'm not really looking for like WrestleMania or SummerSlam. Like,
okay, so what exactly are you looking for?
It is what it is.
Okay, fair.
It usually is just it's like not a gimmick PLE, but like honestly, it's like a glorified house show.
Sure, it's exactly what it is.
For Saudi Arabia. It's a showcase for Saudi Arabia. It is what it is. So us as a U.S. fan, what I'm saying, we have this on a regular basis. The purpose of this contract or this deal is to bring your biggest and baddest superstars to Saudi Arabia for the Saudi Arabians to see them. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's the reason you have your Goldbergs. That's the reason you have your Brock Lesnar's that just show up within like 2 weeks of the show and just start chaos,
Right, so, wreaking havoc.
Yeah, like it is what it is for me. It was the best buildup is probably, besides Roman and Logan Paul, most definitely would be Brock and Bobby. But
Bobby.
Right. But I would like to see more of a story being told. But I think we get that later on.
So you think this is the beginning of some of these stories?
This is definitely it has to be the beginning. It doesn't make sense. You have to have at least 3 matches out of this.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? To see who's the dominant beast or being to come out of this. So it's like it is what it is for me. I'm gonna watch it, but
sure. I think it's an easy story to tell, but we'll come back to Crown Jewel because we're going to tap into some things that kind of happened before Crown Jewel. But gentlemen, we got a very cryptic and mysterious promo during the Bray Wyatt segment, and we are introduced, ladies and gentlemen, to a new character named Uncle Howdy. Uncle Howdy. What is going on, Brian H, with this new character, Uncle Howdy? See, that was good. See, look, I got last on that. See that? Uncle Howdy. But let's put some context to what we're talking about. Since Bray Wyatt's return, we haven't completely figured out exactly what he is or what he's doing. We've noticed that there's quite a few changes in regards to the Bray Wyatt character, and it seems as if he's starting to intertwine a lot of those characters into one, but we don't really know what that is just yet, right? So the music change, he has a very spooky and cryptic way of returning. And he has been cutting these promos recently where he's kind of in the ring and one side is red, one side is blue. And he's kind of rambling on in a way where I don't really know what he's talking about, right? He's interrupted recently by this new character that he calls Uncle Howdy. That's clearly, obviously, some version of Bray Wyatt. You know what I mean? And he is accusing Bray Wyatt of not being who he says that he is. He tells him that he is a liar, that you are not, that he's not showing remorse for what he's done, and he is running away from who he's supposed to be. And most recently, he made a reference to the Fiend in this last promo because he said you sent him away, and he was the one that made you strong. And they flashed a picture or a image or some type of silhouette of the Fiend's face. And I'm saying to myself, okay, like what's going on with Bray Wyatt? It was obvious that they showed a QR code in regards to Bray Wyatt, the feud that they showed after the fact. And one of the QR codes was, it seemed like a psychiatric evaluation. I'm curious and I'm wondering, like, wait a minute, are we being privy to like what's going on inside the head of Bray Wyatt? Like he's showing these signs of schizophrenia. Like he's when I saw the Uncle Howdy promo, the rumors made it clear, right? Oh, clearly he's going to put together this group, this Wyatt Six. But it was obviously Bray Wyatt in that promo as this Uncle Howdy. I said, wait a minute, he's being different versions of himself. I'm starting to think like maybe this whole Wyatt Six isn't about a faction. Maybe it's about 6 different versions of who he is, and he's running away from every time he cuts a promo, it's like they take us inside the mind of Bray Wyatt. He doesn't know which version of him that he is. Now I know that was a rather long-winded segue or setup for the question, but Uncle Howdy, Brian H, who the heck is Uncle Howdy, and what does he have to do with Bray Wyatt? And I ask this because Bray Wyatt is set to do something in Saudi Arabia. He's not announced for a match. He's in the ring cutting promos. What do you think we're going to get from Bray Wyatt at Crown Jewel, and who the heck is Uncle Howdy?
I don't know, man. Wow. I'm sitting there watching it, and I want to bring there was a call today, and shout out to Brandon Thurston. He tweeted, pretty much live tweeted the call, and one of the things that stood out, this quote: "We let our fans discuss it amongst themselves and try to figure out what was going on." That was Triple H talking about, Paul Levesque talking about the White Rabbit project. And how that made the 23rd, September 23rd SmackDown the most watched since 2020.
Yep.
And I was like, it's like they realized that worked, so let's continue, but just go in a different way, because what are we doing? We're talking about it. I've seen stuff when it first happened, screenshots, people were saying it was Barry Windham. Then I seen Bo Dallas. People even connected
Barry Windham.
Yeah.
Wow.
I saw that and I was like, shut up. That's what I saw Friday night after the air. And then Saturday, the week it was, Bo Dallas.
I remember that. Yep.
This is very interesting. I don't know if it's Bray. I could see him.
Come on, bro. You can't tell that that's not Bray Wyatt.
It looks like Bray Wyatt.
Dude, that's Bray Wyatt with a mask on. Something ain't right with y'all. That's clearly, I know his voice. That's him.
But he
talks like this. His name is Uncle Howdy.
Okay.
True.
But he could also, he's so crazy that he could switch that up too. I don't want to compare, but I got to. Owen Hart switched up the Blue Blazer a few times.
But that was a satire though. That was a character change.
But I'm just saying, we could sit up here and we could say, okay, it's Bray Wyatt, right? And that would be fine. I do think overall this is very interesting because he's not. Let's be real. What's the most thing that's fun about Bray Wyatt? Is the character, the stuff that he does. I'm not saying
the intrigue.
Yeah,
he's unpredictable.
Right. It's not. And I'm not going to say when the bell rings, I'm bored, but it's not my favorite part about
his matches have not been the most memorable thing that we refer to because the character is so elaborate. I agree with you.
Yeah, so that's what's got me interested in this Uncle Howdy thing, because it's something that's like I said, keep us talking, and we're gonna find out. But what I'm interested in, it feels like he's having this fight with himself. So before he goes after any title, he has to really address this issue, whatever it is that Uncle Howdy, like you said, he killed the Fiend, so he's got to square this away with himself.
Brother Hugh, do you have any idea where this is going? Who is Uncle Howdy in regards to Bray Wyatt, and why is he constantly reminding him of quote unquote who he really is?
I'm gonna be real with you. I got fed up, not fed up, but I've been tired of it for a while now with the White Rabbit, the whole White Rabbit gimmick.
So you burnt out.
What's going on? Yeah, I'm kind of burnt out. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm just trying to sit back and enjoy it from a fan's perspective.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as far as analyzing it, I'm pretty much done. But I would like to know the story behind maybe some of the nuances behind Howdy. Like for instance, what happened to his eye?
That's an obvious, that's something they've made clear by showing you certain things.
What's the story behind the crown of thorns?
There you go.
You know, stuff like that. Like
why is he wearing the same earring as Bo Dallas?
Right, I'm intrigued by that. Not really as much as like why is he going through whatever he's going through with Bray Wyatt or whatnot. I'm just intrigued by the little things, honestly.
Okay, brother Brandon, let's get your perspective on it, because I know you if you don't know the Brandon, brother Brandon, the guy, Brandon the guy, Brandon the guy who's the guy.
Yeah,
he comes from the world of creative imaginary arts. In other words, the comic book world. And the comic book world is known for drastic narratives, right? We've had many conversations about the New 52, the original way of telling stories through comic books, and the stories and the narratives that come along with it. So I'm curious to see what you think of this. Is right up your alley. You know what I mean? This is one of the reasons why we needed to get your perspective on the show, because it's like, if anybody is going to kind of grab on to this curiosity in regards to this narrative that they're trying to sell when it comes to a character, this is something you're kind of into all the time as it is, right? You're into these type of characters in these superhero novels and these comic books, in these even the movies and the things that come from it. So what is Bray Wyatt doing? Who is Uncle Howdy? What is he going to be doing in Saudi Arabia? What is he trying to tell us? What's going on with this particular character?
So I think you asked the wrong question.
Okay, there we go.
And the reason I'm saying that, so think back to when Bray Wyatt returned.
Okay.
Remember the blue light? He had that one mask on. He took that mask off to reveal himself. And what did he say?
He said, "I'm home," or "I'm back," or something. He said, "I'm back," and they go, "I'm
here,
home."
right?
I'm here. Yeah,
I'm here. And he blew the lantern out, right? Fast forward to SmackDown.
Like he came back from another dimension. Did you ever catch that? Anybody else felt that? Okay.
But remember, now when he came back from SmackDown, where was his mask? He came out as Bray Wyatt,
which was awkward.
And he just wanted to talk. He just wanted to talk to the fans. But what happened as he's talking? He got interrupted by that mask that he was wearing. So then fast forward now, we have another person interrupt him, because when he was backstage, he was able to say his promo. He said, "I'm going to go to a dark place that you don't like me, and I do things that you won't like me when I'm doing them."
And
but
he
was
no
just backstage.
Yep.
And he was just backstage. Nobody interrupted him.
True.
But then when he gets to the ring, every time he's in the ring, why does he keep getting interrupted by these different personas? He had the mask persona that he came back with, and now Uncle Howdy. I think in Saudi Arabia, we're going to see another interruption of Bray Wyatt to keep the story going on. Why does he keep getting interrupted? What is he not telling us? If he's not the real him, why do I need to know what's going on here? Because they're keeping the Fiend. They're keeping the Fiend in our minds, because remember,
because they mentioned them, which was awkward, and I was like, wait a minute, because I thought they were going to like moving on from it, but this past week they mentioned them. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That was the second mention. The first one was in the video package when they recapped his promo from Friday on Raw, and they showed him in all his personas. They showed the Bray Wyatt, the cult leader, and the Fiend, and I was like, they cut that into the video package to let you know, hey, we still got this guy. It's just like if you talk about Mick Foley, you say, oh, look, Cactus Jack, Do Love, Mick Foley. You know what I mean? Like
who were all three, really four different characters, because Mick Foley was different from Mankind. Mankind was different from Cactus Jack, and Cactus Jack was different from Do Love. And they all fit into whatever different stories at different times. They weren't the same guy. They were different outfits on. Yeah.
And they were different personas. So I think that in Saudi Arabia, we might see another interruption. Now, whether it be because remember, we almost forgot about that original mask, because that persona interrupted him. And now you had Uncle Howdy interrupted him. So now, where are you going to start tying this together, or what are we going to do here? Because I think it's not why did Uncle Howdy interrupt him, why does he keep getting interrupted in the ring?
So he set the show up at Crown Jewel, and he's not advertised for a match. And from what I'm hearing you say is you feel like we're probably going to get another interruption. Now, my question is, are we going to get an interruption from the same being, or do we get another wrinkle? Because they're not stopping at any shorts to really take this to a different level, even with the hiring of the gentleman that was a former writer for Marvel and has done a lot
Rob Fee.
Yeah, Rob Fee, and it's just like, dude, they're not pulling any punches. And I'm just saying to myself, what is Uncle, like, why do you introduce the character like Uncle Howdy? Because Uncle Howdy's not the one who interrupted him in the first place. Or maybe Uncle Howdy was the one behind the mask all the time. And then you say stuff like, okay, well, if Uncle Howdy were just going to introduce himself, why would he hide behind the mask in the first place? There's all these different things that make me wonder. But I like I said, we'll table that for now. But we'll definitely keep an eye on it, because this Bray Wyatt thing is just getting started.
So I think we're going to have a situation. Oh, right.
No, I was about to say, go ahead.
I think we're going to have a situation, and Dwayne, you might be one of the few people that get this reference. I think we're going to have a Red X situation where we think it's one, it started as somebody else, and then you're like, but wait a minute, it's not. Who is it?
That's the vibes I'm getting.
We're going to have, and the ones that don't know, if you want, just Google Red X, and you'll see what I'm talking about, because you still don't know who this character is, but it's been so many different mentions and different personas, and like even in the future, like I feel like we're going to go down a bigger rabbit hole of still not know.
Yeah, because we don't know.
This man hasn't even wrestled. He just keeps coming out.
We don't know who the heck Bray Wyatt at this point. Like, we don't know who he is.
For him, not even wrestle. And he's not the number one merch sale. The number one merch sale, all he's done is come out and talk to us.
That man
picked up. Insane.
He picked up right where he left off.
Yeah, he's not wrestling anytime soon.
No, and crazy part is,
to the Rumble.
It's going to go back to what brother Brian said is, Brian H, it doesn't matter, because that's not what we come to see anyway, right? Like this is the best part of what Bray Wyatt is, right? And it seems like Triple H is like, dude, we don't care about the wrestling matches. Do what you do best. Let's get the most out of this, instead of, no, wrestling, you're still a wrestler. We got to put on a show for the fans. You know what I mean?
And that brings me to my original point. Triple H has figured out how to do sports and entertainment perfectly.
Yeah,
and it's entertaining.
And the crazy part about it is they don't always have to go hand in hand. They can be separate under the same roof, which is a very good point. So this is why
you see how he's incorporating that into the other shows now too. Look at NXT. With scripts.
Oh, NXT is the third brand now. He done basically, they mentioned him on Raw. They mentioned him on SmackDown. They even mentioned prior accolades of the. You know what I'm saying? Like look, a former NXT champion.
They have top talent show up at the main shows like they're stars. You know what I mean? Like, that's so and so. That's the NXT champion. They stand up and they get a wave to the crowd. Kind of the way like when somebody's returning NXT, they're treating the NXT champions the same way when they go to these shows on the main roster. So we're definitely seeing that. But like I said, we're moving on, because we got to keep diving back into Crown Jewel. But gentlemen, this is sorry, I swear I'm not trying to be mean. Emma returned. Is there anybody let me ask Brother Brandon. Brandon, are you are you good with Emma returning, or did we like, are you happy, or what's the deal? Anybody? Because y'all call it kind of quiet.
Emma can go in the ring though. I she can go in the ring. I enjoyed the match with her and Ronda Rousey, and I'm good now. We can move on.
I mean, I'm cool with it as long as it's the right version of Emma.
I mean, what is the right version of Emma? Like, I'm happy to have Tennille Dashwood back at WWE, because I remember she was one of the early cuts. You know what I mean?
Right.
Remember they were trying to repackage her and it didn't work out. Like, she looks gorgeous. Like, she's a model when you see her. Like, but then like you hear her talk, she's kind of a goofball. Like, that's, she don't take herself seriously, which is not a bad thing, but it's just like, it's hard to sell her as this sex symbol when it's like, but when you hear her talk, like, we all saw her first gimmick at NXT.
Yeah, I mean,
hey, look who's in the building.
As long as
Drew's in the building. Hey, Drew.
As long as we're not getting that Emma, dancing Emma, I'm good with it.
Well, that didn't work the first time on the main roster.
Right. It only worked because Santino put her over.
Yeah, and she couldn't do her little dance, because I remember the ramp was too long. So you should come out to NXT during her little dance, and everybody was vibing. And I saw it, I was like, this is not gonna work on the main roster. And then she would come out to the Raw, she'd be trying to do it all fast, and I'm like, just let it go.
So and then she turned to an Emelina, and then
she was trying to be a sex symbol, and she was trying to be Mandy Rose, and it didn't work out. And I was like, this is not gonna work.
No, she was trying to be Carmella. Remember Carmella?
Yeah. She was doing the glam girl stuff.
With another
version too, right?
I think that was it, man. She was never really defined.
I thought it was another version of her that was being portrayed. Like there was a lot of vignettes, but then it just
Emelina?
That was Emelina.
Was it Emelina?
Yeah, that was Emelina.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because remember, Emelina is coming to Raw, and it was like all those vignettes. It was like,
bro, they started, then they stopped him, and then she showed up. We were like, wait, what? And then she like cut a promo, and it was like, and next week she was gone.
Mm-hmm.
The business is pretty crucial, but we're happy to have Emma back though. But let's stick with the women, gentlemen. We have new Raw women's champions. Now we could take this conversation one of two directions. Okay. All right, and you guys are gonna dictate what direction we take this conversation, as well as the people.
We have a question from Drew.
How do you guys feel about Double J showing up on Dynamite tonight? I'm okay with it. I got no beef with Jeff Jarrett. You know what I mean? Like Jeff Jarrett comes from. I feel like I know him a little bit better based off his show. Jeff Jarrett is a wrestling guy. He's going to show up on somebody's wrestling show one way or another. And if the opportunity is there, I don't see that he's not going to take it. He's going to be a guy that he's got to always. Him and his father, Jerry Jarrett, worked in the wrestling business for a long time. It's in their blood, like that. That's his bread and butter. I'm okay with it. You know, Tony's always gonna, you know.
You see his new title?
No, what's his new title?
His Tony Khan posted about an hour ago. Welcome the new AEW Director of Business Development.
Okay, good for him. You know.
You watch? Did y'all start watching the Territory show on Vice TV?
No, not yet. The Tales from the Territory. Split by The Rock. I'm scared, bro. I don't even want to touch it.
No, it's good. It's good because, like, I know you didn't really care for Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah, this is brutal, bro. Like, it's golly.
There's some moments, but like, so you got Jeff Jarrett, Jerry Jarrett, Jerry Lawler, Dutch Mantel.
Oh, okay. So they got like the guys. I'm gonna go watch
the guys, round table style.
Jerry Lawler's my guy.
And they're telling
Jerry Lawler's my favorite old school wrestler.
Facts. So I watched the Andy Kaufman episode, and I learned so much about Andy Kaufman in that one. And then you got Jeff Jarrett sitting there like you know how Austin would do. You know when Austin get in this position when he's doing the and he's like, tell me about this. You know when he's breaking down the match. So you got like Jeff Jarrett asking Jerry Lawler questions about the Andy Kaufman story. He's just like, okay, so. It's real good. Definitely check it out. Because you, like I said, you just learn so much about just the way the business was back then. All the things that Andy Kaufman was willing to do to protect kayfabe.
Sure. Yep. Yeah. He was a pro. Like I think he understood it long before anybody else did. But that's definitely But
this is a good one, you know, and because you think like Vice TV, you think about, like I said, the Dark Side of the Ring, the Dark Side of the 90s and all that. Yeah. Totally different. It's a sit down discussion with a documentary presented.
Oh, okay. So I think I'll definitely get into that. So I'll definitely check that out. But like I was saying, gentlemen, new Raw Women's Champions. Now all three of you guys have been very crucial and integral in the moving and the pushing of the needle being forward when it comes to women's wrestling, especially just the way women are utilized overall in the world of professional wrestling. You guys have all worked in organizations and promotions specifically with women's wrestling. So I'm amongst the perfect guys to have this conversation. New Raw Women's Tag Team Champions. Like I said, this conversation can go one direction, it can go another direction, or it can go another. It's going to be how you guys decide how it's going to be, right? So let me tell you option one. This is like the Matrix. This is like Bray Wyatt. This red pill, blue pill. On one hand, we can sit here and discuss are we getting new tag champs because we need formidable opponents for maybe somebody that's returning? Or are we going to stick to the fact like, hey, you know what, Alexa Bliss and Asuka, two former world champions that are rather dominant, and they kind of need something to do going into, you know, the next storylines, and also / Damage Control really isn't working that well because they're not, as much as I love Io Sky and Dakota Kai, but they're not. It's a little dry when it comes to them. So, gentlemen, because there's rumors. Let's just go there. There's rumors about Sasha Banks possibly returning. She's making comments about getting back to the ring. She's watching the product. She's probably done with all her modeling. She's got her system. She's had time to think, regroup, get her mental together. And we all know that Dakota Kai and Io Sky versus Sasha and Naomi is going to be a squash match. Or maybe we have a more intriguing, interesting matchup now with Alexa Bliss and Asuka, 2 former world champions versus 2 more former world champions, which to me kind of puts those tag titles, like it elevates it. So, gentlemen, I'm just going to throw it out there. And Brother Hugh, let's start with you, sir. What say you? What are we talking about? New women's tag champs. Let's start here. Were you surprised to see that happen on Raw? I had a feeling when I saw the match. I said, "There's no way in the world they're winning." That's a damn control's not going to beat them.
Nah. I mean, I saw it coming from a mile away. As soon as they came back, you already knew that they were going to win. They were going to go over. Right now, I think they're just placeholders, for lack of better terms. I mean, like they needed something for them to do.
Okay,
honestly, like so they're not gonna go at my fault. They're not gonna go after the belt with Bianca's there, you know.
Okay,
like,
fair.
So what else is there for them to do? Well, all right, let's put them up against Damage Control. That's the next formidable team for them, or opponent for them.
So, do you think they'll be in a position to help create new stars, new young talent as far as women's tag team division? Because
absolutely.
I don't want to say there's not a shortage of women right now, but there's a shortage of notable women. They're like in build new stars mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they can definitely do that. You just have to right now. You just have to get those. You have to find out those pairs.
Okay, sure.
That you can work with.
All right.
You know what I'm saying, and just go from there.
Okay.
Like you have 2 top teams right now that's somewhat decent enough to carry the division.
Yeah.
You still don't know about Naomi and Sasha yet, or when they're coming back or whatnot. But these 2 teams are good enough to carry the division. Now you just have to start building. I'm not talking about Raquel Rodriguez and the other girl. What's her name? Aaliyah. No.
Shotzi.
You have Shotzi's replaced her.
I don't know if that's better, but
I mean,
she got the tank crack.
Are we allowed to talk about women's wrestling? Because sometimes like people get offended when it's like, I'm like, well, if we're not going to be biased, and I don't like you because of what you're doing, it doesn't make me misogynistic. I'm just not a fan of what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure she's a nice person. She, whatever. But I don't like your gimmick.
He hit the personality card.
Right.
Go ahead, Brother Brandon.
But it's not even about men's or women's wrestling. It's just if it's a good match, it's a good match.
That's my take on it.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I don't know, and I was a Shotzi fan, and I'm not saying I'm not taking any discredit from her, but it seemed like lately she was botching a lot, and then it's like took away from her in-ring ability. And I'm like, this is not the same Shotzi. And I'm like, oh yeah, push her to the moon. But as much as I'm not a Ronda Rousey fan, she actually made a good comment about women's wrestling. She was like, take the word women off the titles. Sure. And remember, they did that for a brief period of NXT, and it was confusing. It was like NXT champion Rhea Ripley. You're like, huh? It was like NXT women's champion Adam Cole. You're like, huh? Wait a minute. Did she beat that? Because in my mind, I'm still fresh about the Impact thing when Tessa was the world champion. I was like, wait a minute, what? But if you take it off, I think that would it still be the same? Because I really feel like whether women open or close or have time, they need to have as much time as their male counterparts because they do produce a lot. But with this tag team division, there is no division. It's just literally the women's division because they haven't established. We don't have the Iconics. We don't have the Boston Hug connection. We don't have Tamina and Natalya or Natalya and any other partner they're going to put her with for that week. You know what I mean? We don't have actual Fire and Desire tag team. It's just, oh, y'all two not doing nothing. All right, that's what it looks like. Hey, y'all were just there. Put them together because didn't Asuka take the belt from Alexa at one point when they were tag team champions? And now they're champions. And even so, it's like the best tag teams are in NXT right now. The women's tag team, the best ones, are in NXT. Is this a gateway for them to say, go down to NXT and help build that division, go to SmackDown, help build that division? until we're ready for our formidable opponents to come back, and Sasha Banks and Naomi. But they really don't have history with either one of them. Sasha and Asuka have a little history, but it's nothing to come back to outside of we want our belts back.
Sasha and Alexa has history.
Yeah, but not history like
Sasha
and it's not like Sasha and Charlotte, Sasha and Bailey. It's not that. It's like, we got to really. You got to give me a video package to show me.
It's like competitors' history. Like, we would just compete for title, but like versus the other ones was like beasts.
Yeah, right. And Naomi and Alexa has that small SmackDown women's title history, but it's like, who really remembers that? That's because didn't Naomi get hurt and she had to drop the belt, but it was like, never mind, she can still wrestle at WrestleMania.
And she got the WrestleMania moment in her hometown.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's always going to be edged in her that she's in. I don't know what it is about people automatically saying, "Oh, you're bashing." No, I'm not. I'm bashing because I do the same thing to men's wrestling and tag team wrestling.
The product,
that's kind of my take on it.
Is slim right now. Yeah, like I just honestly feel like. Yeah, I was about to say I honestly feel like they don't have anything for Alexa and Asuka to do right now.
Because we all probably want to see Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler as a tag team because they probably would be good as a tag team.
Oh boy, who's going to beat them?
Yeah, you get what I'm saying?
Like Shayna and Nia Jax.
There you go.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, that's a tag team that writes itself. Toxic Attraction on the main roster would be formidable foes, but it's going to be help build them up because I think they've done all they can at NXT. But then you got other teams that's building to say they're there, but what's the point of taking a Raw and SmackDown women's tag team and saying, put them on NXT when you already have a set of NXT tag champs?
No, that makes sense. And when you put it that way, I definitely get it. But like I said, we're moving on because we're gonna get into just the match card real quick. But the exchange between Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley this past Monday Night Raw, man, we see this quite a few times with Brock Lesnar as it was, man. But I just thought I want to touch on this briefly. I thought it was so masterfully done in regards to the presentation because something specific happened. Triple H did something that I've been wanting Vince McMahon to do forever. Is when it comes to trying to sell. I get the rematch, and to me, that's all that it was. Like it was random for Brock Lesnar to come back and pick a fight with Bobby Lashley because that feud kind of got lost in the sauce, fresh off of his view with Roman. Like that whole thing at SummerSlam was just unbelievable, and it's like not much compared to it. It doesn't hold up, but it was like, man, Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley having a feud is was one for the books, but for them to revisit it now and just I love how they're like feeding in who these characters are as far as their personalities are concerned, right? We know that Brock plays by his own rules, Brian H. We know that he kind of does what he wants. Like that's his reputation, and he knows the fans know that. So he does things like, okay, we're gonna schedule an interview, Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, to keep these guys away from each other so they can have a civilized conversation and kind of sell the match verbally. That was really just intention, right? And then Brock Lesnar purposely doesn't show up. They're like, oh, well, why would I do that? I'm in Texas. I would do what a Texan would do. Let's stay here, draw the line, and let's fight. And the crazy part is Bobby Lashley's like, I knew Brock was going to do this. I knew you were going to do this. I don't know why I even sat down in this chair. And it's funny because I love the fact that Corey Graves is like telling him like, yo, Bobby, I don't know if you can hear me, but he's in the ring. And Bobby's acting like he can't hear it. He's like this, and he hears this commotion. And it's these subtleties when it comes to these performances, right? And then they're like, then he's like, and then he finally gets, it's like a delayed response. And I'm just like, dude, this is perfect. It just keeps getting better. So Brock Lesnar's in the ring, Bobby Lashley comes storming. You see him snatching the stuff off. A fight ensues, and the locker room opens up. It reminds me about when they did the same thing with The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, which was once again masterfully done. But there was a wrinkle to it that I was like, dude, this is perfect. When Triple H came out there, the boss comes out there.
Yep.
I love when they play to the mind of the smart marks, right? I like to watch Raw with my family because as much as they know that it's a show, they have these moments now. They're like, wait a minute, Triple H, and I feed into it every time. Triple H comes out there, and he's like, get him off, cut it out. Like they know he's in charge, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, wait a minute. When Triple H is out there, he's mad, and then they're like, wait a minute, look at Triple H. His head is really red. He's pissed. He goes there and he starts screaming like, "Yo, if you touch each other, the fight is off. You're not gonna get your fight." Brock Lesnar does what he wants to do anyway. Once again, character development. You're feeding in who Brock Lesnar is. Fans are going nuts. The wrestlers are trying to separate the two. They're fighting each other. Triple H is pissed off, and I'm just like, and then they go back behind the scenes in this commercial break. I'm like, dude, I want to visit. I said, if you want to convince people and keep them on their heels and make them feel like this is a real situation going down, you got to do something that you would never think anybody would do, or something that Vince, what's the one thing you haven't done that people have not seen you before? I would have come out there many occasions with that headset around his neck, like, wait a minute, like, and making a fuss about a situation. Yeah. The same way he approached Austin when Mike Tyson came to the WWF in 1998, and McMahon started spazzing, and it goes back to when I re-listened to the Book of Wrestling. One of the things they were talking about with the Mike Tyson show was like, when people saw McMahon lose it against Austin outside of the ring, like, you ruined it, and he got close to the camera on purpose so the audience could hear, like, the people at home, and he kept saying, "You ruined it." Everybody's like, wait a minute, something wasn't supposed to go down this way, because, like, you know, we don't all know he's the boss, but why is Vince saying you ruined it? Yeah. And that's something that was something that I got a chance to see Triple H do on Monday. And like I said, I wanted Vince to do that for years, but for him to do that, and he was pissed, like, he was blood red. I said, dude, my family's like, wait a minute. Nah, he was mad for real. Like, I don't think that was supposed to happen. And I'm like, yes, this is what wrestling's supposed to be like. But did you guys notice that, Brian? This will start with you. Did you notice that, though? Like, is that something that caught your eye when you saw that on Monday Night Raw?
Oh, as soon as he did it, and I was like, I tweeted, I was like, did Triple H just say, "I'm calling the match off"?
Yeah, like he was mouthing the whole time, like, dude, like, no, this is it. I'm not telling them if they touch each other, it's off. Like, no, the match is off. And
I like, I was excited about it because it adds that real element to it. It's just like because for fighters, that's Christmas, right?
Yeah,
especially
a big payday.
A big payday
that's documented.
Yeah, and we know these are 7-digit paydays.
Oh,
so
yep.
And, for him to think about it, like, oh shoot, like he about to cut out pays, and of course, like Smart Mark's like, oh, they just doing it, but no, when you present it from a kayfabe standpoint of view,
it's a show at the end of the day.
It's a show, and like you said, if you bringing up your family sitting there, the fact that their money, but they're also their opportunity, because that's the thing. Back in January, Lashley said he looked into Brock's eyes and realized Brock had no soul.
Yep.
And neither does he. He don't have a soul. So that's the reason why fight.
Or any eyebrows.
Yeah. I was gonna say that he got no eyebrows either.
Yep, we noticed.
Hey, we asked him, was he a vampire? And I seen him in Nashville, and I'm like, yeah, you look like a vampire.
Bro, he's looked the same since he was in high school. You watched his A&E documentary or whatever his special was on the. I swear to goodness, he looked the same since high school. Say he just got bigger. I said, dude, he hasn't aged. In our truth.
He just added muscles. He just added muscles.
Bingo. And so you just look at it like, man, this is good, and this is what has me excited about Crown Jewel, because yes,
they definitely sold me on it. Yep.
But I want to see it again, and to see like this started, in Raw in Brooklyn, when just Lesnar, like you said, came out of nowhere, and he had a beef with him. That Lashley beat him for the belt.
Right.
All right, let me handle this with Roman. I ain't forget about you. I'm gonna cost you your belt that you're wearing now, and me and you gonna duke it out.
Right. Now, if it's like you said, Brad, if there was one thing that sold me on the show that I was like, okay, I'm looking forward, this is gonna be fun, because that's how it is with me now. Like, it's got to be fun. Like, just make it fun for me. I was like, man, this is really, really good. It's gonna be really, really fun. But let's just go right into Crown Jewel. We're not gonna like analyze every match, but let's start with the match card, and then we can just jump right in. And go ahead.
Real quick, did y'all ain't pick up that Bobby was looking very hurt business like?
Yeah,
I didn't catch that. Do tell.
The nice car. He drove up in a nice car. No faces or baby faces drive up in expensive nice cars like that, and he made sure that you saw what he was wearing. He was wearing the suits.
There you go.
As the good, he still wore his suits, but he had on his. I'm gonna just say he looked a real hurt business like.
Man, I do remember last time. I don't know if they were in Jeddah or they were in Saudi Arabia when he fought Goldberg. Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander came back to help him out. We were happy because first of all, that was one of Goldberg's best matches. Like I said, if Goldberg gets to wrestle all his matches just like this, because it looked like it was a really good
Bobby
match.
carried it for him. He made sure he looked like a superstar.
Oh my gosh, that's one of his best matches since being back. Like that's one of my all-time favorite Goldberg matches. That's how good that match was. But there was a segment with Shelton Benjamin, and this is after post-hurt business. Like they were kind of done. It was no like crazy breakup, but they Bobby Lashley smiled, and here comes Shelton, and here comes Cedric Alexander. So I mean, who knows, man? We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. We got a lot of people returning. If you got Emma returning, god dang, they're gonna give us the hurt business back.
What did MVP say? I saw that he was talking on TV. I was busy at the time, but
I believe he was talking about the match between Omos and Braun Strowman.
Okay, I was just making sure there was no mention of like, I don't know.
Yeah,
they foreshadow things.
There you go. Trying to catch any subtleties because that's how they keep us watching nowadays. Because it's like you got to watch now because they, it's not so straightforward and cut and dry like it used to be. They're doing those things. But let's, like I said, with that being said, let's just get into the matches of Crown Jewel. So here's the Crown Jewel match card 2022. If the show does indeed go on, what it look like? We're looking at singles match between Braun Strowman and Omos with MVP. Steel cage match with Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross. Singles match with Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. We're looking at a 6-man tag match between the OC, AJ Styles and Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, my guys, the Good Brothers, versus the Judgment Day, Finn, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio. We're looking at the Undisputed Tag Team Championship title match between the Usos and the Brawling Brutes. A last man standing match for the WWE Raw Women's Championship between Bianca Belair and Bayley. And of course, obviously, the Undisputed Universal Championship between Roman Reigns and Logan Paul. So, off breaks, Brandon. Tell me what's your initial impression and thoughts towards that match card. I'll say this now because I'll just use this as my turn. I'm okay with this. Like this is a solid match card to me. I'm nervous about Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross because man, Karrion Kross he's falling flat a little bit. I thought he was gonna be give us a little bit more, but so I'm okay with this match card on a Saturday afternoon. I'm looking forward to this. But Brandon, what's your initial impression of the Crown Jewel match card for 2022?
Like I said before, I'm not really excited, and it doesn't seem like it was much to make me say, "Oh, I want to watch this."
You don't want to see the Bullet Club against the Judgment Day?
Well, let me finish. I'm just saying because all that New Japan stuff was surrounding it. Now it's like any match with AJ and Finn, I'm gonna want to see, but I want to see what's Bianca Belair and Bayley. What story are they going to tell?
Okay.
And then I want to see what is going to be this whole. I want to say. What? Because I hate to say this, how is Logan Paul going to impress me this time?
He's been doing it though,
and I think that Roman's going to tell the story of he's beneath me. Mm-hmm. Oh shoot, he's surprised. Let me take him down. But it's just I'm curious to see because now that we know it'll be all of the original club there. And the New Japan thing is just, I think it's a bigger story being told. That was
I think so too, man. I think Triple H and WWE is up to some shenanigery.
But I think it's going to be bigger shenanigans because they're going to have somebody to combat Rhea. And if it's not Beth coming back, it's got to be it's got to be somebody else because Rhea, anytime she slammed Doc, I was like, oh, okay. So we had Bianca.
Yeah, she dropped
pick up Otis. Remember, she picked up Otis, and now she's doing this. I'm like, you need an X Factor now with not to say to add to the club, but just to assist the club.
Help out. There you go. Yeah.
But I'm just like, I still want to stick to I feel like this could be on any Raw SmackDown, and I would be hyped for it on Raw or SmackDown. Don't get me wrong. Brian said it about Brock and Bobby. I think I'm more worried about the story than the match.
Okay.
And even with the tag, they get an automatic rematch for the tag belt. Is this when Sasha and come back? You gonna fly them all the way over there, or is this just a gateway to something? I just feel like it's more of a story, or it's like, okay, I can see this on Raw, SmackDown, and enjoy it. I don't need a premium live event. Okay. That's just my personal opinion, but I do want to see what the It's not 30-minute Iron Woman. It's just a last man standing, right? Last woman standing match, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yep. So it's no time limit to it.
Bayley, when it comes to these matches, I don't want to say gimmick matches, but when Bayley's in a gimmick match, she gonna come out with something as long as the duct tape hold up. She got you.
Yeah,
I mean that makes sense though, brother Hugh. What's your take on this match card for Crown Jewel? Are you impressed by it? Do you want more? You want less?
I just want to start by saying that Bayley can use duct tape on me anytime she wants.
See, I was listen, when he said duct tape the first time, I left it alone. I didn't touch it. I wasn't going there, and then brother Hugh does it again. He gets his turn.
What I'm talking about. That's
the whole point. I was like, nope, I'm not saying anything about the duct tape. Like Brandon said it, and I was like, oh, there we go.
Because that's the one blemish on her record. That's the one thing I was like, oh, Bayley, come on now, you know that ain't gonna work.
And then here comes brother Hugh, Captain Obvious. He comes and he says, on the record.
Help me.
I'm like, bro.
And Brian sitting back there like, I ain't getting in this conversation.
Bro, like,
look at him. He's like, I don't want nothing to do with this one.
No, because like they'll blame us like, oh, it's y'all. It's not a y'all. It's brother Hugh half the time.
Exactly.
Like he starts it and then he's a bad influence.
It's 90% of the time it's him.
Right, but then I get influenced and then I get involved. I'm like, bro, I feel like he's like, bro, you got us in trouble. Like you should have you knew I was gonna fall for it, and you did it again. Like you keep getting us in trouble. Like Day on Friday. You keep getting me in trouble.
Right.
You gotta try to get me in trouble.
So what's the match card? What were you saying? All right, so what's your second point? Your first point was that. What's your second then?
So yeah, I had to catch myself because he said something about, I'm done. Go ahead.
May you repeat the question?
How do you feel about this match card for Saturday?
Crown Jewel 2022. What do you think about the match card? Are you impressed? Do you want more? Do you want less? Besides Bayley and her duct tape.
Like, is piggybacking off of what I said earlier. It is what it is. It's not impressed. It's decent. No, I mean, I'm impressed. I mean, I just know what it's supposed to be.
Okay, so you keep it in its proper context. You know what the showcase
it reminds me, like I said, it's not. I don't want to say glorified house show, but it's like an in your house.
I mean, it kind of is
type of feel type. Like I understand what it is.
A filler pay-per-view.
Yeah. But it's over there to serve a purpose, and it's going to go over there and serve its purpose. You have a nice set of matches. How many matches? About 6.
So I think it's a little bit more than that, right?
It's usually about
7.
7.
It's actually 8 because they added 1.
So everybody's gonna get their time.
8 with a Bray Wyatt segment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, everybody's gonna get their time to show out, do what they have to do, and just bring it back home. That's it.
Did Mustafa get added to the card?
Not yet.
For what?
Okay.
He's a date. No, not him. It's the other dude.
Who?
Mansoor.
Mansoor guy.
Mansoor. Yeah, he's usually the one, right?
But I thought they would have added him and Seth because Seth's not on this card.
Seth isn't?
I don't think he doesn't have a match, does he?
No, he don't.
Oh, he doesn't.
But I thought they was going to do the U.S. title match. They was going to run that back because you know that you can't go to Saudi without taking one of them with you. Because think about which call it to NXT. Which calls it NXT, and he's reunited. So who do you have to take who's going to be the hometown hero?
Yeah, but are you supposed to do like a United States Championship match in Saudi Arabia? Like I don't know the rules on that.
They've done it before. Right. Remember, Shinsuke and Rusev had a match. I think at the first Crown Jewel, wasn't it?
Did they?
I think so. They had come on, Brian, jog your memory. I think they had a United States title match over there.
Brian's like the wrestling Schwabe.
Look it up. I'm almost sure. I think they had it.
Dang, Seth doesn't have a match.
But Seth usually doesn't make those trips, does he? He usually stays with Becky.
Oh, he went with Edge last year because him and Edge had a match.
See, I can't keep up.
Yeah, because now when you said that, I'm like, maybe he doesn't. Right? No, KO can't. I think he stands against it because of Sammy.
Yeah, because Sammy doesn't.
Sammy can't go.
He does. He's from Syria.
He can't go.
Nah, he doesn't do that. He's
AJ defended the United States Championship against Humberto Carrillo
in
2019.
Keep going. It was. I'm almost sure because it was weird because Shinsuke. I think that's when he was on Ron had the belt for that short time because it was a last minute
you're right.
match.
Him and Rusev, that was the first crown jewel. Before that, it was the greatest Royal Rumble. But yeah, the first crown jewel, with the infamous greatest tag team match between 4 great legends.
I never understood it.
And then this sweaty Shane McMahon won.
Yeah, and then it was also Jinder Mahal and Jeff Hardy.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Gender.
Maharaja.
Okay.
Don't hinder the gender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm just. Oh, it was. Oh, which call said it's supposed to be Riddle and Seth? Was that what the comment that came through?
Yep. Originally Seth and Riddle in a trunk or treat street fight on Monday. So, yeah, I think what they're saying is Seth Rollins was probably supposed to be in that match with Riddle. And because he wasn't in that match, they're trying to make sure he's not hurt or something like that. I don't know. You know what I mean?
The Rollins and Austin Theory put on a banger.
Well, that's the thing now. So,
and that's when he had some blonde hair. Seth Rollins come back.
I said, Shield Seth Rollins is back for a little while.
He was looking a little Tyler Blackish. Well, he had the one streak as Tyler Black. But I said, look at him, and smiling and touching fans' hands and stuff.
Oh yeah, you know what time it is.
No, but I'm sure there's going to be some added elements to WWE Crown Jewel 2022.
I didn't do nothing that time. What happened?
Nothing, like we just trying to wrap up.
I just threw y'all left field. I threw a monkey wrench.
This is not even gonna. This is the shenanigans. This is what goes on.
Shenanigans. It's 50 episodes.
If I had $1 for every inside joke that happened on this show today, I could quit my job. It would be It was a lot of inside jokes today, but it's okay. That's what happens when the brothers get together. It's all right. But WWE Crown Jewel 2022 should be prayerfully they can go on, and I don't know the situation. We're keeping a watchful eye and closed prayer hands for the event. With we're talking about pending threats potentially, which is absolute no, especially when it comes to the safety of the entertainers and those who are and also the people who are involved in the families and the many children and dignitaries who are trying to enjoy the show. So we'll always keep a close watchful eye, but I echo the sentiments of what you brothers have all pretty much said in regards to this event. The Crown Jewel is always a showcase event, like we said 1,000 times, and this looks like a lot of the shows that you may see at a house show. You got stuff like Karrion Kross versus Drew in a cage match. I mean, we went to a house show in DC and we saw the Miz versus CM Punk in a cage match, which was actually really, really good. So yeah, man, I just I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good show. Prayerfully they can go on.
Any big surprises?
I think that's the part that is going to fill the show with the like outside of the matches. And I'm at a place now where I trust Triple H so much. That's the part I want to just sit back and just enjoy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's going to be some aspects of something somewhere, especially with Bray. Like they announced Bray Wyatt, like he's going to a big show. You want a big payday. They want to see you. You're going to do something to move your story along. So I'm looking forward to stuff, a lot of things like that kind of happening going forward. Yeah. So
let me ask you this.
Yes, sir.
Roman and Brock. Roman and Paul.
Yes, sir.
Squash match?
Nah, he has pins in his hand.
Nah, I think it's gonna be. I think they're selling it. Like the sell job is this. He says one lucky punch. That's what he's trying to sell. That's what the whole match is going to be built around.
Right?
Can I catch Roman Reigns slipping? Like they already told you the story. They're going to tell in the ring.
Yeah.
He kept like they're selling. Oh, he's got that one thing in his hand. Oh yeah, that was one lucky punch. He said it very clear. I'm one lucky punch away. So guess what? So you admit I am dangerous with this one hand. So if I catch you slipping, you may go down. And it's like that's what you're gonna watch for that whole match. You're gonna watch him like, look, I can't beat Roman head on, but if I can catch him slipping, I can make a name for myself. He made it very clear, like, yo, I have nothing to lose in this situation.
Right. And that's why I said what I said earlier. He's gonna go in, underestimate him. Logan Paul's gonna do something fantastic, and then it's gonna be like, oh, let me take him serious, and then he probably gonna hit on Superman. Here's how guillotine him out. Whatever he's gonna do, he's gonna make him probably tap out.
Yeah.
Or pass him out.
Or pass out, yeah. Here's how you know that Roman Reigns is the guy. He is on like Ric Flair levels where he's making whoever he's in the ring look strong. And it's like, oh snap, he could have beat Roman Reigns if he didn't cheat, or he had Roman Reigns on the ropes if he didn't have the bloodline, and Roman acts like he had everything in control the whole time. But you're seeing him like lose it, you're seeing him snap, you're seeing his anger coming out other ways. Like he plays it cool at one point, like on SmackDown, when he dressed the bloodline, he was very cool and calm, collective, and giggling in the ring. But on Raw, but as he was walking up to the ramp, he started talking his ish. I was like, yo, I said, talk your ish, Roman. God dang. He was like zapping on the camera.
Yep.
He did a, we were wanting to see.
Bro, he did an old-fashioned Booker T style promo. If you watch WCW back in the day, Booker T said they never gave us, he's like, I never had time to grab the mic, cut promo. So he would always get close to the camera and cut his promo. He would talk his talk. And Roman just went off. I was like, yo, what's up with you? I said,
but that was good. That was entertaining.
It worked. Like you could tell that he's like trying to play it cool in the ring, but he was offended by what happened. And like when you see that shows a level of character development that shows like paranoia. It shows fear. It shows anger. Why he's trying to be a dignitary in the ring and kind of act like he's not bothered by anything. And Miz comes out and gets involved. Who knows? Miz may look for a receipt. You know what I mean? And we got all other kind of stuff.
But when Miz said, "You're my tribal chief. I acknowledge you. This is your ring." I said, "Go ahead, Miz."
But what's funny? You brought up the fact Roman making guys, making whoever he is in the ring. I noticed that his match with Finn Balor when the Demon had Extreme Rules last year, and they took you for a ride.
That's what I'm saying. Like Finn is that good. He's that good. And I was like, this is going somewhere. Like you could have continued that storyline for another week and a half, or you probably could have went for another month. Like just go for another 2.5, 3 weeks, and then
revisit it with the Judgment Day and the Bloodline.
That's what it's there. You can
revisit it.
That's your Royal Rumble.
I trust it now more with Triple H in charge than I ever have. I'm having so much fun watching wrestling again. The subtleties, the excitement. Anytime I can get in that space, man, I'm in a good place personally. So, but good brothers, man. This has been a great show. Once again, congratulations to us, the Click, the Wrestling Realm, the Brotherhood, for 50 shows on the Wrestling Realm Now podcast,
and 498 total shows.
498 total shows altogether. Yeah, we probably should be pushing to do more, but I'm DX / Kevin Nash Toofa. I don't care. Like, bro, if it makes it's got to make dollars in order for it to make sense, right? So, but yeah, man, I wouldn't trade this in for the world, man. I appreciate you, brothers. Thank you for everybody that joined us today. That went with us on this journey as we preview Crown Jewel, brother Brandon, the guy, Brandon, the guy, Brandon, the guy,
with all the belts, all the titles.
The original.
And it's just one side of the room.
It really is though.
That's right, Brandon. Talk your ish. Come to the camera and talk your ish.
I've seen
this is one side of the room.
I've seen the rest of the room. I have pictures on my phone. I used to look up belts. I just look up the photos I took from his room. Like I don't have to go on those websites anymore. So, but yeah, hold on. You got one for the road?
I'm gonna just grab this one because this is that beauty
look
right here.
There you go.
We don't even see it on TV anymore.
That's the NXT UK Tag Team Championship.
This was a work of art.
It was.
This might be almost as bad as the NXT World Title. Well, the NXT UK Champion. Yeah, because this thing is beautiful. It's stacked in there. Oh man, look at that. I'm gonna sound like here. Look at her. Look at her. Oh man, right. Pretty.
She's shining and everything. Yeah. Right.
Oh, she too much.
No. She good.
Like catching it hard.
No, sir. There's no such thing as too much shining.
She blinging.
Hey, a quick question, brother Brandon, before we got here.
Them popping.
Oh, what? I'm just done, yo.
I'm gonna put the bag. I'm sorry.
We were almost done. Like we almost got through.
And I didn't even have to egg them on this time.
That's what I'm saying. Like usually, right?
I'm the one poking the bear.
Yeah.
I'm usually poking the bear, but he just keep on rolling without me.
He's just too cool for school. But I can't get words out, brother Brandon. Real quick, what's your favorite title and why? Like people, we're gonna. In case you guys don't know, brother Brandon's going to get his own type of like special segment on just his elaborate thinking when it comes to his collection as far as replica championship belts and just his ideas and the stuff that he's worked on, as well as what he's done for odd titles. So, but this is just like a short preview. But
you're gonna drive that man crazy.
Oh yeah, big time. He's not. He's yeah. He's. Oh yeah, he's in for a doozy, and he's also got his. He has a special Wrestling Wrealm custom title on the way too, that we like trying to get him to spill the beans on, and he won't. But it's okay. But what's not a goddamn thing? What's your favorite title and why?
Brian, I can't believe he's doing this to me.
Yeah, I did. That's what, and I knew you could because like you're in front of everybody. We're an hour and 44 minutes in, and now you got to spill the beans.
It's a tie. It's actually a tie.
Okay, it's tie between.
It is a tie between the undisputed title and the IWGP Intercontinental title.
Where they at? Show us where they at. There, so, look, that's the IWGP.
Show it to us.
Yes, sir. Bait of the minute.
IWGP Intercontinental, right?
This
version, not the first version. And the reason is one of my favorite. The side plates, everything about this belt,
very elegant.
Just says yes. It just says champion. And when Shinsuke Nakamura carried this, it felt like it was the most important thing, and that's what made me really pay attention to Shinsuke. And even in the center, you can still see the world behind the IWGP, even with the stones, the floral patterns, everything about this belt, no matter who held it, whatever size you were, it just felt like that was the important belt.
What about Tetsuya Naito when he kept throwing it everywhere and like
that's my man, Naito.
When it started getting dirty, I was like, stop being disrespectful to it.
Tanahashi had to restore the title.
And I really believe this was the precursor that made this belt so important. For me. I got two different versions of it. So that's
he
why
had three. He gave me one.
Yeah, boy.
And it was like the precursor to say, how important is this belt now? If we didn't have the Intercontinental before, this belt wouldn't mean as much.
Big time, especially trying to have a global presence in the professional wrestling community.
Exactly, but that one, and then I've told this story numerous times about how I paid $20 for this belt.
There it is.
That's true. He called me as soon as it happened too.
Yep, $20
freaking real.
This. And the thing about it is, when this first debuted, I was just like, "Wow, that's a world." And I was a fan of a Big Eagle, but when this debuted, and I remember seeing it, it went through identity crisis. Where it was big 1 week, it was small.
Undertaker had it when it was medium. I was pissed.
But
but by the time Brock Lesnar had it, that thing was huge.
That belt wasn't around long enough.
But I think why I liked it so much, it had so many elements from the Big Eagle. Like they just basically upgraded from the Wing Eagle to the Big Eagle to this. Like even the side plates still got the McMahon family crest on it with the lion. It was the floral patterns behind it. Even with the logo, just enough stones to make it pop. And I'm not a huge fan of the black and gold, but the black on this just makes it. That's probably why I love the ROH belt so much. The Impact belts have it. So how they have the, and it just works. It just, every time I see this belt, it makes me remember a time when it was like, yes, Jericho was the first ever undisputed champion. I wish he would have had this belt. But when they morphed it into this, I was like, wow, even for that brief period of time. Yep.
We almost done a whole show without you mentioning Jericho.
But right.
You made sure.
I gotta squeeze my Jericho references in. It's just I don't know what it is about it. And when I got this belt, Kurt Angle actually signed it. That's whose signature it is.
Oh yeah, that's even more money.
When I brought it, I was at the flea market. I don't know what I was looking for, and literally it was a tag sticking out of this bottom part, and it said 20. So I'm thinking it was $200 because at the time I'm like,
stop playing
it's
real,
worth,
bro.
Yeah. So I asked the guy, I said, how much you want for the belt? He said, no, just give me $20. The piece is broken right here, right? So I'm like, I ran to the ATM. And brought it, came back. I was trying to stuff it in the belt bag because I had a belt bag too. And this other guy was like, oh, what's that? I was like, mind your business. So I'm just stuffing my belt. And I'm running out of the flea market trying to stuff my bag. And I brought a Wii Fit too. But I always got to show people the way I know you appreciate that.
Old School Figures Inc.
Yep.
It's real.
So
Damn.
It's only about 2 millimeters thick, but these two are probably my favorite. I have some that are good designs, and I would love to do a show where we talk about some of the designs on the belt.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
But if you notice, some of the key points: an eagle, a globe, and just enough stones to make you say, when you look at a belt, do I feel like I'm the world champion? Or do I feel like I'm the secondary champion? Because that Intercontinental title if there was no world champion on the show and I brought somebody that didn't know wrestling and they saw this, they're gonna think that's the top prize in that company.
Yeah, easily.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know, and that's I don't know why Tony Khan went back to the original ROH belts. It could be some legal issues.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He had a license for it.
Yeah. But the tag team belt, looks like a world champion.
World title, yep.
You know, because it has certain elements. So those are my favorite.
That's I feel like
a tie between them two.
No, that's actually I feel the same way about MLW's tag title. They look like world championship belts, the tag titles.
Yeah, and you mean this one?
There it is. I told you. I told y'all. You know about the original Kings of Comedy. That's the original belt king himself. Yeah, I think MLW got some of the
the prettiest belts.
Yeah,
even that middleweight champion.
Middleweight champion is a beauty too.
And the world title was such I think that's why I like the Undisputed, because it was an odd shape too. It's more oval than round. So, but it's just no matter who you saw that on, whether it was Big Show, Brock Lesnar, Hulk Hogan, Triple H, it just felt like it was still a world title.
Sure, Brock Lesnar. When I saw him have it, I was like, man, that thing looks a beauty. Like it was. I didn't like it when it first debuted because of how small it was in Taker's hands, and I was like, dude, like I was expecting something spectacular. But then as it kind of off and on, and I saw, like I said, I'm not saying it happened when Brock had it, but I'm saying that's when I remember it the most is when he had the title around his waist. Yeah, and I was like, oh, that thing is huge now, and it was always one of the bigger belts. But definitely, we definitely appreciate you just breaking all that down for us, no pun intended, and just showing the world a little bit of your belt collection. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, you can follow us on all social media platforms at The Wrestling Wrealm. Subscribe to our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube channel at The Wrestling Wrealm. Gentlemen, it's been fun. Another one in the books as we celebrate 50 episodes. Cheers to 5,000 more. We will see you this weekend as we'll all be watching Crown Jewel and keeping our eyes to what's going on next. So I'm the real Dwayne Allen. That's Brian H. Waters, has a third. Brandon the Guy. We will catch you on the flip side. Peace.
Brian Waters.